For more Filmy Show Me updates, press the bell icon and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hello, hi
Hey
Shashank.
guys, how are you doing? Hi Anuj, how are you?
I'm very good. How's lockdown been for you?
Lockdown has been interesting. It's been challenging on many levels, but it
Mm,
has also been something whereby I've got time to introspect, really form opinions about what is happening in the life around me.
sure.
Luckily, I'm into spiritualism. I'm a Buddhist, so that's really kept me going, kept me positive, and also, really hopefully come out stronger out of this, working towards a more humanistic society. So yes, it's been a bit of spirituality, a lot of writing, a lot of pondering over the past, and also planning for the future.
I know it's really funny actually, because even I tweeted this idea the other day. I was like, sometimes in order in life to move forward, we do have to take a few steps back in order to kind of introspect and sort of analyze and have a look at the situation. So I'm really glad you mentioned that. But I just want to congratulate you on your new foray rather, as a producer
Thank you.
with Good News and Booth. How has your responsibilities, your visions changed, if at all, since those films?
I think firstly, I'm very, very fortunate that I've been able to take the transition from a director as well as now to a producer. And I
Mm,
think the responsibility began with the fact that I'm more aware of the fact that someone gave me an opportunity when I was a newcomer and helped me. And now I find myself responsible for other lives so that
mm,
I can nurture them and ensure that they enter this big bad world of Bollywood. And I think also it's empowering because there are many stories that you read and you think that maybe you are not the right person to direct it, like you
right.
might not have the expertise or that might not be a story which motivates you, but yet that's a story which needs to be told. And I
Mm,
think being a producer allows you to do that. So like
right.
instinctively when I heard the story of Good News, I realized that that's not something which I can direct, or rather it's not up my alley. But
Yeah.
knowing that I know the right person, Raj Mehta, he's the guy who can direct it, and then having
Mm,
someone like a Karan Johar backing me on it, and saying that yeah, let's do it. So I think it's a dual responsibility of trusting talent, knowing talent, and also understanding creativity, budgets, all of that.
I think it's quite amazing to see you sort of step into this new world as well, because I think reality show judging was quite new for you at one stage, and now producing is a complete different
True.
ball game for you. But I think when you began your career, did you ever vision yourself being a producer of a film ever?
To be honest, when you are a young filmmaker or you are just a young boy growing up in a small city of Nasik, dreaming for the stars, you don't put limits to your dreams. You actually believe that you're going to conquer everything. So
Yeah.
I think definitely there were always thoughts and beliefs that I can do multiple things. I can multitask. I can foray into multiple dimensions of the filmmaking process. Only thing is as you get older, as you start encountering the industry, you just start getting more and more gratitude in your heart that even if this happens, I'm good, because
Mm,
you go through so many challenges. But I think I always was hoping that I'm going to keep growing every single day. I
mm,
was just working that I hope I'm growing as a writer, as a director, as a producer, and if that's happening, I'm good enough.
right.
I'm growing every single day, and I think you should be very, very open to the journey.
Mm,
There are multiple challenges thrown at you, and you
mm,
should take on. So I'm someone who never says no. So someone says no, try this, I'll just go ahead and do it.
mm,
And so when the same thing happened, someone said you want to judge a reality show, I'm like, why not? Let's give it a shot. You want to
mm.
produce, let's go, let's do this. So yeah, that's how I look at things.
So you're pretty much a yes man when it comes to like exploring different avenues.
I would say yes man, but definitely up for any challenge.
Right. And obviously, I'm sure lockdown must be very useful for you. I mean, I know we briefly spoke about this when we just started the live, but you did say that it's been quite an experience for you. So how have
True.
you used this to explore your creativity as filmmaker, as someone who works in the arts?
In fact, it's been for me personally, it's been very busy. I have been trying to write new stories, write new scripts, also be aware of, and we are all trying to second guess what's going to happen after the lockdown opens out. We're not sure what kind of a world we are going to open into. There are going to be logistical challenges. There is going to be creative challenges. We don't know what locations are going to be available for shooting. So we are all kind of in this guessing game together. We're all trying to wonder what's going to happen. So what I'm trying to do is just write multiple ideas, stories. Luckily, I have a lot of creative people, whether it's my producer, Karan, whether it's Varun. We keep discussing ideas. We keep
Yeah.
talking about ideas. And we're all trying to see that how can we use this lockdown to grow as individuals? How
Mm.
can we use this lockdown to even grow as storytellers and filmmakers? There are lots of stories which are going to naturally allow the coronavirus pandemic to seep into their storytelling. There are going to
Mm.
be lots of stories which won't allow it to happen. So we are
Sure.
trying to figure out what kind of a film. I'm personally trying to see what kind of a storyteller do I want to be. Do I want to
Right.
continue doing the things I was doing? Do I want to really change my style, change the way I tell stories? So I think it's a little bit of a introspective journey, but I'm kind of living with it.
Okay, and I think it's very interesting you say that because I think the whole landscape of cinema is going to change. I mean, forget cinema. I think the world, the landscape of the world, what we define as normal, has completely changed. And I'm glad you mentioned that. We'll be speaking about that briefly. Well, not briefly, but afterwards, later on in the live. But just beginning a bit more about your film stars. I mean, your movies have a very rural Indian connect to all your movies. I mean, be it Humpty Sharma to Dhadak recently. Is this a setting you consciously look out for in a project, or is it just something that just happens?
I think I've grown up in a small town of Nasik, or rather a city now. And a lot of my memories, a lot of my relationships, a lot of how I learnt life has happened over there. Which Nasik is something which you call the two-tier city of India. So I think what happens for me naturally is I tend to lean towards those kind of stories and relationships. So my conflicts come from those areas. My conflict come from my experience of life around me. Also, I was a sportsman growing up. I played a lot of tennis and cricket, which helped me travel into a lot of small towns. So I've been
Mm,
traveling to these small towns right from the age of 12 or 13, all the way till I was almost 21. So I kept traveling, I kept visiting these places, and all these places always threw up great characters, great relationships. When we were
mm,
playing tennis, we would go to a friend's house and we would have meals together that would expose us to their lives. So I think because of that, my orientation is more towards these people and
okay.
towards these regions. I don't think so I'm making a conscious choice. In fact, I was consciously trying to stay away from it when I was trying to write my second film. And I ended up writing such a bad film that Karan was like, please stick to what you know what to write. And that's how Badrinath Ki Dulhania happened. But I think I would love to challenge myself, yet I
Right.
am not in a hurry to change anything.
Mm,
David Dhawan sir, Varun's dad, gave me a great advice after seeing Badri. He's like, Chalti vi gaadi ka bonnet nahi kholne ka, which basically means if a car's running, no need to check the engine until unless the check engine sign comes on. So I'm very happy going with the flow, working hard, see how my stories evolve. And I believe with more life experience, my stories will keep taking different turns as well.
So would it be right to say the fact that you kind of put yourself in your films, you kind of step out as the director or the producer or the writer, and you sort of put yourself in the position of maybe as the storyteller or as the main protagonist of the film?
I think I do two things. In some situations, I put myself like myself, like I would try to pick up characteristics from what I have, and in the
Okay.
other places, I put characteristics of the people of the person I wanted to be, or I
Mm,
could not be, or I am not.
yeah.
So I think being a storyteller allows you to do that. Allows you to create protagonists. It allows you to create worlds which you can dream of, whether you have thought about them or you have
Yeah.
seen them from far, but you've never experienced them, and you can kind of experience them in your own unique way. So I think that's the two things I do. I really look for characters, and I consciously try and create characters whom I'm not like, because I'm
Okay.
already living a good life. I want to live lives which I'm not living. So
Yeah.
whether it is Humpty, whether it is Badri, whether it is Dhadak and the characters in Dhadak,
Yeah.
honestly, they're not much like me.
Mm, mm,
They might have certain small town values like me, but
Mm.
inherently they are not like me. But those are the lives I wish I could have lived, or characters I could have lived. So I think that's what I try and create.
Right. Okay. So it's almost like creating this parallel universe, this parallel world, this parallel persona in a way, which you've never experienced before.
Absolutely. And I think stories have always been aspirational. I
Mm.
think right from the time you heard your first story and let your imagination go wild, till the time you watch a movie for the first time in a cinema hall, I think movies have that quality of being aspirational, magical. And I think that's what we should always aspire to do.
Indeed. And I'm really glad you spoke about Dhadak. I was actually thinking about that film recently. I mean, it's still the ending is still one which can never leave my head. I think it just grabs you by the throat, and I think like how Sairat did that, I think Dhadak did that as well equally.
Right.
So I was thinking about the film and especially about Janvi and the fact that it was her debut film. I mean, at the time, as we know, she was going through a very emotional and difficult phase. So as a captain of the ship like yourself, as a director, um, how do you prepare, manage, plan for such occurrences?
So I think what happened during Dhadak is that it began on a very light note because we were almost rehearsing together for 1 year, working on pre-production. And the way the film panned out is the first half of the film happened. We were all very happy, hunky dory. Then the
Mm,
tragic event happened, and suddenly our lives took a completely different shift. I
mm,
think what we did as a team, and not just me, as the production team, as the producers, as the director, as her friend, we just gave Janvi a lot of space to begin with. But right after that, once she was ready to come back on set, we just
mm,
became professional all over again.
mm,
Because it was really important that we try and give her the space to perform as an actor, as a character, and not keep reminding her about the incident with maybe sympathy or empathy or
mm,
talking about it. So I think what we did is we gave her a space, let her bounce back from it, or there's no bouncing back from something like this, but just whenever
yeah.
she feels she's prepared to come on set. But I think I remember just the first day that she came back, we
Mm.
almost shot for 12 hours. And we
Wow.
said, let's make it a full day. And that's how we just continued. We just continued being professionals. We just continued giving our best and just being there in an unsaid way, always there supporting her if she needs anything from us. But more importantly, just be professionals so that we can really execute this film to the best of our ability.
Indeed, and I think that's a very good approach to have. I mean, I think when I last spoke to Janvi last year, she did mention something along the lines of like, acting was almost like a lifeline for her. For her, it kept
Right.
her sane, it kept her head on the right way. Because obviously, when something like this happens, I think it's very unprecedented and it's very difficult for one to deal with. So I think kudos to you and the entire team, and kudos to Janvi as well for, you know, mustering that courage and getting that strength and that passion for cinema that's really helped her, and I'm really, really proud of her as well. Speaking a bit more about your films, I think Varun and Alia have literally their chemistry has completely cemented. I think with your films, I mean, Student of the Year, everyone loved it. Everyone talks about it even now. It's referenced a lot on Twitter. But obviously, since Humpty Sharma really broke the ice for them as a couple, as an
Right.
ensemble couple, what does your role as a director actually require to create such a magical Jodi on screen?
I've often said this that on-screen chemistry, this word is very overrated. You know of a lot of people who are maybe even couples in real life, and they don't
Yeah.
have seem to have the same magic on screen, and
Mm,
vice versa. Some people have great magic on screen, and they might not even get along. I
mm,
feel a job as actors and filmmakers is to rehearse the scene and
mm.
be absolutely truthful in the scene. So, for
Right.
first of all, to create that chemistry, I need to write those scenes, right?
Mm,
I need to write an interaction between the two of them, which can be as magical. Like, so I
mm.
remember when I wrote Humpty Sharma, and the first time they come together, Varun asked her, "Kaun hai tu?" And she's like, "Bhoot, Jadoo." Jadoo ki behan. She's like, alien hu Jadoo ki behan. So, when you write lines like that, they become endearing. And then what you need to do is you need to make them those characters,
Right.
because Varun and Alia are very, very, very compatible even in real life. They are
Mm,
great friends, they trust each other, but they trust each other as Varun and Alia.
right.
Now, what my job is to make them trust each other as Humpty and Kavya or as
Oh,
Badri and Vedahi. And for
Right.
that, it's really important that I work with them, with the characters, with the scenes, really keep pushing them to understand the nuances of the character. And there are many things which in the character is different from what Varun and Alia are like.
Mm.
I remember when I was prepping for Badrinath, Varun kept asking me, why is this guy not going and standing up for the girl? Why is he just blindly listening to his father? Because we sometimes forget that Varun's born in Bombay. He's born in Mumbai, in Juhu. He does not necessarily understand all of the world. And I remember we were at his house, we were having dinner, and we were arguing about a particular scene. And he was like, I don't understand this. I just don't know why is this guy not talking. Look at the youngsters today. They're making videos on Instagram and on all other public. Why would they listen? And suddenly one of his house helps walked in
Right.
and he was helping us with some food. And Varun asked him, are you married? And the house help replied with a slight Bihari accent, ki, "Ha, bhaiya, I'm married." So he's like, when did you get married? He's like, bhaiya, I got married 9 months back. My father sent me the photograph on the phone. I saw the photograph and I said yes.
Wow.
And suddenly Varun's world just, you know, opened up and he's like, you didn't even meet her once. He's like, no, I met her directly when I went for my wedding.
Oh,
And
wow.
that's when Varun realized that there is a different world which exists as well. There
Right.
are there are
Mm.
there are communities which still exist. There are social, structures that still exist, which
Hmm.
where this happens. And suddenly, for him, the film Badrinath Ki Dulhania took another motive.
Yeah.
It had a completely different meaning. And same thing when you build characters. So that chemistry that you build, and especially Badrinath was very tricky because in the first half I had to build a chemistry where Alia actually does not like Varun much, and then
Yeah.
through the second half she starts liking him, till the time I can convince people that they love each other. You know,
Indeed. Mm.
so it was a very interesting journey to take them on to because they are such good friends. It was tough for me to even convince them that you don't like each other, but
Yeah.
then I had to make them understand that Kavya does not like. Vedahi does not like Badri.
Badri. Mm.
Alia can like Varun, that's fine. And I think
Yeah.
that's how directors need to work, or I think
Mm.
I specifically work with my actors that keep rehearsing the scene, keep
Mm.
getting to the truth of that moment, and you will get your chemistry.
That is so true, and I think it's a very good point you've made there. I think as a filmmaker, you have to kind of stress on the actors to kind of uh be aware of the switch on and switch off mode as actors, and I think
Absolutely.
that's a very good point there. Your movies, especially, which I am a huge fan of, as you already know, the fact that I love the fact that they seem to contain social undertones through the guise and coating of commercial or masala cinema. So how do you combine these two aspects seamlessly and make it seem like a very wonderful marriage between two complete opposite sort of genres?
I'm so glad you said that because I often get criticized that I make very regressive films, and I'm always like very confused. I'm like, I'm not sure what I'm making, but I think I have no formulas. I just trust my instinct. I've grown up with certain values. I look at people through that lens. I try my best not to be judgmental and try and understand as much as I can about life around me. I'm very clear. I'm a product of cinema from the late 80s and 90s. That's
Mm.
the kind of movies I've grown up watching. I love those kind of movies. I love the masala movies. I love song and dance sequences. I love
Yeah.
them to be an integral part of my movies. A lot of people always tell me that till you keep doing that, you won't have access to a world a world audience. And I
Right.
completely don't believe that. I believe that a good story communicates itself. And
Mm.
so what I try and do is I always want my protagonist to have equal roles. I always want that the woman equation is well balanced, and I always want to try and give a subtle message. I always believe messages should not be preachy. It takes
No,
away from the message itself. So I try my
absolutely.
best to keep it as subtle as I can. At
Mm.
times it goes over the top, and at times it misses the point. But I try
Mm.
my best, and I also try and make it as funny as I can. Dhadak didn't need it to be funny. Dhadak was a completely different film. But with
Yes.
Humpty and Badri, I always kind of maintain a sense of humor. That
Mm.
I always believe humor helps you connect to a point much better. So I try
Right.
that. I use my characters. I try to give them quirky names. I try and create dialogues which are funny, which are unique, which are true to my personality. And then I just go with it.
Right. Okay. So it's a lot to do with instinct and
Absolutely.
that sort of your influence as growing up and stuff. So I think one of my friends, Aman, is watching the live, and she's asked a very good question. Do the lines blur between real and real for actors because they get so consumed with their work?
I think sometimes it does. It depends also, it depends on the kind of role that they're working on. Sometimes it does happen. It happens to all creative people. Uh, I've spoken to a lot of actors about the work they do. I remember when Varun was shooting for Badlapur, he did get into a slightly dark space. Of course,
Mm,
he would try and fight it every day, but it's not something which is very literal. But it's
right.
almost that sometimes for the preparation of that part, you want to isolate yourself. You know,
Indeed. Yes.
I remember when I was writing Dhadak,
Mm.
suddenly while writing the second half of Dhadak, I started feeling the need to completely isolate myself, not meet
Wow.
people. Though it was not a long process, I
Mm.
was kind of, because I was reading so much, researching so much about honor killings and what happened to actors, because they are the face of it. They're kind of going through those lines, emotions a
Mm.
lot more. They do
Mm.
get into those emotions, but that's absolutely fine. I think they end up bouncing back as well.
Sure, sure. And I think it happens a lot. I think when Ranveer was preparing for Padmavat for playing Khilji, I believe
Right.
he also had locked himself up and isolated himself completely to get into the skin of the character because it was so dark and it was quite strenuous.
And we also live in such a socially active world, like unfortunately, we have the phones with us 24/7. It's ringing, it's buzzing, it's some messages coming in, you are checking news. So sometimes just to isolate from everything, just to kind of get into the skin of the character. You mentioned Padmavat Khilji. It's a character which you have never seen, right? It's
Mm.
from history. It was in a different time period. Sometimes to just get into that, you need to do that kind of work,
Yes.
and I think it all depends from the role to role. And
Mm.
sometimes isolation is good. I mean, for the first few days of the lockdown, even I was trying to stay away from the phone as much as I could, and it
Right.
really helped a lot, because you don't need, then you suddenly don't feel the need to keep checking on social media, news, friends, whatever. And that's when you can get into a slightly creative process.
Right. Okay. And I think it's true. And I think you definitely time is definitely required to sort of get into that skin of the character or the role or whatever you're trying to do. Fans in particularly on social media since we announced the live have also been asking me asking you to share your experience about working with Siddharth Shukla in Humpty Sharma Ki Dulhania. Um, what was that experience like for you?
Oh, it was great fun. I love, I in fact met Siddharth just before he was going to enter the Big
Oh,
Boss house.
yes.
And it's amazing how he's become such a big celebrity after that. It was a great experience. I think the first thing that struck me of Siddharth was when we were meeting for the role, that he
Mm,
was very, very real, and he didn't have any illusions about the industry. I remember I was offering him a part which was not the main lead, it was a supporting part. And I remember chatting with him. He had come home and we were discussing it. And he was like, Shashank, I don't belong to the industry. I don't believe anyone else is going to launch me. I think it's a Dharma film. You seemed like a cool guy. I know Karan through a show he was doing called Jhalak Dikhla Ja.
yeah.
And I feel there were
Yes.
girls just shouting his name out, and post Jhalak, he had already become a star. And I think
Right.
now Big Boss has really elevated his stardom. So he was a very cool guy. Every time we meet now, he's still as cool. He's a chiller, and the good thing is he's very, very real, and
Mm.
he has no delusions about the industry. I think, which is a good thing.
No, that's true. I think he is. I mean, when I spoke with him a couple of months back after Big Boss, I got that same vibe as well. He just
Yeah,
seems so like he just knows. He's very sure of what he wants
absolutely
to do, what is happening in the world. He just knows it, and I think that's
true,
amazing. A
true.
sort of great value to sort of have. Obviously, lockdown has really proved the power of the digital space and the web, of course.
Yeah.
As it is, there was India was going through a digital revolution beforehand, but I think now it's become a huge blessing and a boon to us because had it not been for the digital, maybe you and I wouldn't have been talking. Um,
True.
how do you hope to foray onto the web and to the OTT platforms, especially?
I I actually already have. I in fact have a film which is under post production.
Okay.
Three directors of Dharma Dharmatics, which is our
Yeah.
digital wing. We are already making a film for Netflix. So
Okay.
it's a three part, three short stories put together. So
Oh
in
wow.
fact, I've already finished shooting it. I am waiting for the post-production to get completed. Unfortunately, because of the lockdown, the post-production process got hampered. But
Mm,
soon we are hoping to release that on Netflix as well. And
mm,
I'm a big believer of any kind of platform. I
mm,
really believe you should only be a storyteller, and the platform will find you.
mm,
Do not. I'm personally not very caught up with any medium as such. I really believe just select the best story, and you will find the right medium to tell that story by.
right.
So I think digital is turning out to be a big boon for everyone, and also it's kind of giving filmmakers a certain amount of freedom. Like
Right.
I really felt empowered when I was making that short film. There were no commercial pressures. The budgets were locked. My only job was to ensure that I can make it at in that much budget, and that's it. Other than that, I was free to make the kind of film I wanted, and I think
Mm.
that's really amazing. That's a great boon for a director to have.
Right, yes, definitely. And I think I guess you're more creatively free as well to explore any sort of storyline, any characteristic, because you're not bound by the censorship, which is kind of quite it's almost like a
Absolutely,
full it's almost like the in I don't know if you watch Harry Potter, but it's almost like the Death Eaters in Harry Potter.
absolutely.
Get so
You know,
scared.
I understand censorship in our country. We have a wide population. We have a massive population. We are very diverse, uh, and in diverse in all matters, right? From the social structures to the economical structures. And
Indeed.
unfortunately, censors are kind of stuck in between, trying to save I don't know what, but they have a tough task.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I can kind of appreciate and understand them,
Hmm.
but I feel luckily for us, we have this digital platform which is coming in and really helping us explore ourselves.
Right, yes, absolutely. But I think, Shashank, when certain projects don't work out, for example, if they maybe it's just because it sounds good on paper, but then doesn't translate well on screen, or if
Right.
maybe certain projects are shelved, how does that impact you? Because surely it must have a knock-on effect on maybe your confidence and your vision as a director at some point, right?
It does. You put in a lot for everything. I mean,
Mm.
I've recently experienced it twice.
Yeah.
We produced a film called Bhoot the Haunted Ship. It was something very unique. It was for the first time we were going to make a horror film on a ship in India. The
Mhm.
budgets were massive compared to what horror films are made in India. And when
Right.
that film doesn't do well, it definitely it definitely affects you. But I think that's the beauty of the creative process, is that you need to learn from your mistakes. You can go back and you can just look at the movie, realize from all the feedback that you've received, try and pick up the good things, try and eliminate the bad things, and really grow from that, learn from that, and go ahead and make the best film that you can the next time round. And also recently I had a film called Mr. Lele, which didn't take
Yeah.
off for multiple reasons, and it does affect you because you spent a lot of time writing that script and a lot of time working on the pre-production of it. But I
Mm,
always believe that stories will find the correct time. The reason
mm.
it didn't happen is a blessing in disguise sometimes. I mean, imagine me. We were supposed to start shooting that film on 15th March, and
Wow.
the lockdown was announced on 30. I mean, we shut industry on 13th March. Now,
Yeah.
had that happened, even if we were supposed to go ahead, we wouldn't have been making the film, right? So I
Yeah.
also believe things happen for the best. We ended up not, deciding to not make that film about 3 weeks earlier or 2.5 weeks earlier for
Mm,
multiple reasons. It definitely takes a toll on you because you've invested a lot into it creatively. But I
mm,
think, I believe there will be a time when that movie will be made, and it
mm,
will be made in the best circumstances.
mm,
And at that time, I'll do complete justice to it. I also believe I'm here for all my life, so I have multiple stories within me.
mm.
So one story not being made is not going to defeat me.
Right, yes, yes. And it's always important to maintain that optimistic and hopeful thought process as well. But I think this next question is a bit subjunctive. I mean, had it not been for the support and faith of Dharma Productions and of course Karan Johar, at what stage do you think your career would have been right now?
Very difficult to tell. I mean, I don't know how to analyze that, considering they were my first producers and we have built a relationship since then. I think I mean, it's very difficult to, it's a tough question to answer. What I do know is that, I really feel that stories find the producers. Like, I remember when I wrote the script of Humpty Sharma Ki Dulhania, a lot of my friends told me, do not approach Dharma Productions. They don't make films which look that poor. And
But
I just said, you know what, if they have to say no, they'll say no. I'm not going to trust anyone else. I just went, pitched the film. They liked it. The film got made, and our journey continues. And today I'm exploring multiple facets because of that. Whether it is, becoming a producer, also judging a show. So it's tough to say where my career would have been, but I definitely know this, that thanks to them, I have been able to really have my own voice as a filmmaker. Every time I have to tell a story, Karan's always backing me. Whether it was even Dhadak, for example, you know, uh, I was the one who went with him and said, "I've seen this Marathi film called Sairat. I want to make it." And he was like, "You're a mad person. Why are you taking this chance? It's such a celebrated film." I said, I want to give it a shot. I have a voice. I have an opinion about the movie. There is a
mm,
new story I want to tell in that framework. So I
mm,
think I've had a lot of support from Dharma Productions and Karan, and
right.
they've really really banked my vision. It's tough
Mm.
to say what I would have done if they weren't there. I mean, definitely a good question to think about at times. But I have a lot of gratitude for everything that's happened in my life, and I
Indeed.
continue to have it.
Indeed. Speaking of good things happening to you, I think at the moment I was reading up. Apparently, virtual auditions for Dance Divane 3 has begun.
Yes,
So, what are
yes.
your hopes and expectations from this season?
Wow, in this, first of all, I just hope everyone's safe. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Mm,
it's such a tough time period to kind of think of something selfish, because there are so many lives at stake. So, I mean, even when I'm speaking to all the stakeholders of Dance Divane, we are only praying that let's get into it only once everyone feels safe and
right.
secured. We don't want to rush into anything, because it shouldn't be at the cost of someone's life,
Life.
and
Exactly.
for that matter, our own personal security. But having said that, it's a good thing that the auditions are happening, which also means that a lot of the pre-production work is going on. So that means the minute we can shoot, with the permission of the governments, that means it will take lesser time for us to get on the shooting floor. So that's
Mm,
something to look forward to. I mean, for all of us who are locked down, we are just dying to get on a set again. We are dying to shoot whatever. We're just wanting to shoot something and just feel the live atmosphere of a film set or a TV set. But
right.
we are going to take precautions. We are going to
Mm,
be cautious. But the
mm.
good thing is it is happening.
Right, right. No, absolutely. I think a lot of people, especially actors, are very eager to go back on set, and I can imagine. I think it's difficult when you're doing a work for so long, and then suddenly something like this, which is so unprecedented, happens.
True.
I guess it can really take a toll on you. But I think, as we mentioned before, that lockdown like really will change. The landscape of entertainment has changed the landscape of our world. What do you think will be the greatest change in cinema post lockdown and post quarantine?
Your guess is as good as mine. I don't know. We are trying to. We are all discussing that. We are trying to understand what could be the difference. Uh, we are all kind of thinking that maybe different kinds of stories are going to come alive, and we are going to be trying to say different kinds of stories. As I mentioned earlier, whether the coronavirus features in it or does not feature in it. We are also thinking that what kind of changes can be made in terms of the shooting process, the working process. One thing which has really been pointed out to us is that how valuable life is and how valuable it is to live with spend time with your loved ones. So I think
Indeed.
we're all trying to, we are all hoping that it will be a more humanistic society. We're all hoping that more value will be given to human life, and even if we can adapt that in our shooting processes. And so we are trying to figure out, we're trying to guess. I think the first couple of things that release after the quarantine will kind of set the ball rolling in terms of what people want to see. And are people going to be changing, or is it, do we want to go back to the old thing? Like, I've been speaking to friends, they're like, listen, I don't want to hear coronavirus again, I just want to laugh. And then there are the other people, like, I hope they explain us something about what happened in this country. So we're waiting and watching. Let's see how we can write different kinds of stories.
Indeed, indeed, and I think it's definitely going to be different. I think it'll be very interesting to see what life will be. After
Pavel
this.
Gulati has joined us. He is the amazing actor from the film Thappad. Hey
Yes, yes,
Pavel, how are you doing?
In fact, we've had quite a few people join us. I think we had Angad Bedi earlier. We've got Avinash Tiwari. What's up,
Hey
Avinash?
Avinash, Angad, Bedi bhai, what's happening?
We've also got who else? We've got Rahul Shetty. What's up, Rahul?
Hey Rahul.
Anmol is here.
Hey
Sunil
Anmol,
Jagan.
Sunil. Hey Sunil.
I think that's, I mean, in terms of people that I am pretty much aware of, I think that's pretty much it. But okay,
Hey
so
Rahul.
much, Shashank, for
Thank you
joining me.
so much, Anuj.
And
Please stay safe.
yes, definitely. And hopefully make a trip to London when all this is done. It'll be wonderful.
Man, it's my favorite city in the whole world. I'm dying to get there. And we have a friends group called London because that's the friends group which travels to London every summer. And this is going to be the first summer in a long time that we haven't been there. So I'm just praying for everyone to stay safe. Hopefully, London will bounce back as well. So will the all of the world, and hopefully we'll catch up. Please take care.
Exactly. Fantastic.
Thank you for the
Absolutely.
interaction.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Shashank. And thank you
Take
everyone
care.
for tuning in. Please stay
Thank you,
safe.
guys.
Stay tuned and can't wait for Dance Divana season 3 whenever it starts. And of course, your next film.
Soon. Thank you, guys.
Lovely.
Please take care.